live. We are
Okay.
live right now. I'm gonna go get the stream link here. Oh, this is so much faster on this computer as opposed to my laptop. So much faster.
But it's like zoom zoom.
Yeah, right.
Same usual stuff. We'll announce to the guild stats. Do we want to start with questions first?
Yeah, we can start with questions first.
And we got a couple non-Omni questions, so that'd be kind of nice and refreshing.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go to the podcast. Okay. There we go. Pod's live.
All right, I'll give it a couple seconds, and then we'll get going. All right. Hello, my fellow barbarians. It is I, Rock, with my lovely co-host, as always, MDA.
What is up, barbarians?
Yeah, Jesus, 13 episodes already.
I know, right?
We'll do our usual stuff. We'll go over the guild stats, go over some questions, and then. But this mostly we're going to be talking about Omnis. Mostly like what we think are the best ones. What are best for each mode? I guess you would say that's probably the best way to go for it. So I'll go ahead and start with the stats. Everyone did Darkside Geo, obviously, and we have returns at 29 stars. I think it was like 36 watt or 38 watt, something like that. I couldn't really remember.
Something like that. 30. I think 36 sounds right.
Yeah, I think 36 sounds right. Age, we have 22 stars, 37 watt. We won our last two territory wars. The last one that we did was pretty close. That one was kind of fun.
That one was fun. Isn't that 16 in a row now for returns?
It's more. We're getting close to. I think it's close to like 12. It's pretty good. Something like that. Squiffy would probably know. Age 22 stars, 37 watt, and then they won both their territory wars, and then an 18 win streak. So that's pretty impressive. I like that. Begins is oh, hang on, oopsies. Begins is 13 stars and 23 watt. It's pretty good. And I think they won their last two charge wars, but their officer didn't say. But it's all good. And then Eternal, I think we did Darkside Geo for the first time, and it was probably the worst time to do it. Your first go since it was like Christmas. It's like we had like a lot of people out on vacation, so it was like 6-star, 3 watt. Not too bad first numbers, but I think we could have definitely gotten like 7 or 8 stars.
Right.
And then I think we won our last two territory wars, so that's all good. So that's that. If you want to just go ahead and let's hop into the questions. That sounds good with me.
Yeah.
We got a couple.
We got some good ones here. There's some of them I haven't seen, but first one from Beta Male in Eternal. I just realized we don't have a Wookiee faction in the game, and there are like 10 named Wookiees in canon. So I would think, would you be down for a Wookiee faction?
That'd be pretty cool. I mean, I would like a Wookiee faction. I mean, and then they kind of later he talks about like having a Trandoshan. Like it'd be cool to have like a bunch of like a Geonosian faction, like a bunch of like species specific factions. I like that. Even if they're not good, it'd be cool to have stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I mean, shoot, we're at a point where we might be able to do like a Dathomirian faction.
Yeah.
I don't know what like Maul is. I can't think of his species off the top of his head, but now we got 3 of them in the game. I mean, shoot, at some point.
I'm always down with more tags and more synergy. If they want to go make a new team,
I agree.
I'm all for it.
I agree.
I'm gonna combine Weezer and Airborne's questions here because they're both kind of mod related. He's talking about what is the most efficient way to farm and upgrade mods? Should I be working on upgrading specific mod sets and stats, or should I focus on cultivating a greater library of mods for all characters? How do I know which mods are worth upgrading and slicing? I actually have a really great snippet from Man of the Lorien that I actually use So basically, in terms of like what, and I go by this, depending on the level that you're at, maybe you do higher speed thresholds, or maybe you do lower speed thresholds just because you need more mods. But basically, he does his normal energy on mods, and then however many crystal refreshes you can afford. He keeps the grays with 4 speed, greens with 8, blues with 10, purples with 12, and golds with 14 to 15 plus. And those are the only ones. As long as each mod will meet that threshold, he'll upgrade those. And then you farm the slicing mats when you need them. He says he sells all the gray left-sided mods, and yeah, so for me, that's what I do. I saw that, and I liked it, and that's personally what I do with mods. And pretty much it's, you know, try to get some decent mods where you can, but it's a process.
Yeah, it's a grind. It's almost a game inside of it. And for like the focusing thing, I would start it like this. Like if you're able to if you have like 3 really good offense sets where you could throw it on somebody and you're like, yeah, this guy's solid, then you probably, depending on where you're at, I mean, probably from where I'll just do it from my perspective. I'm about 4 mil now, and I'm at the point now where like I can't even put together like 7 or 8 good speed sets. Like it's getting to like the bottom of the barrel now, and so I've been farming a lot of speed mods. And honestly, if you're like low on a certain type of mod, then like a mod type, just go hard on it. But if you're at a point where you're like, yeah, I don't really need anything. You know what I mean? Like I'm good on every probably aspect. So then you just farm like wider. I would also say like anything that doesn't roll speed, don't keep it. And then always don't just sell the like arrows that pull health and protection and offense and stuff like that. Always keep those. Even like crit avoidance arrows are really good. If they roll, if you get like a health arrow with speed secondary, keep it. Slice it a couple times. If it gets a 15, keep it, because those come in handy after a while.
Yeah.
And then let's go ahead and throw in airbornes.
Here.
Well, it's not really a question. It's more like a statement.
Yeah.
He says, make a point about how important mods truly are. Like for me, I would rather have a small account with a 5+ mod score than a mid to large size account with less than 1. And I would agree, mods make or break this game. It's the reason why you see people with like gear 10 to 11 M troopers able to like defeat full relic teams, because they're just super fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'd agree. Next, Relius, what are the top 2 to 3 teams that everyone should have, mainly from a guild perspective? I think you and I could probably both agree on this. It's probably Geos and Shot Clones.
Yeah.
Just because you get a little bit of everything. I'd say Geos don't really work that well in the raid, but like they're a good TW team. TB, you need them, and then Shot Clones. I mean, you probably use Shot Clones in every aspect of the game.
Shot Clones is kind of like CLS. They like never die out. Yeah. Like I stopped using Shock T lead for a while, and I was throwing Shock T with Jedi Knight Kenobi. I mean, not Kenobi, but Jedi Knight Revan. And I was running her just to kind of like have her fast, and so that way she could pass the turn over to Yoda, so that way he could go and take the second turn. And then I sat there and I was like, oh well, now Jedi Master Kenobi needs gas, and so now I don't have gas lead clones anymore. So now I've been running Shock T lead clones as like an offensive team, and it's been pretty fun. But yeah, like I think in terms of like most important that a guild can have, I think Shock T clones is number 1, because I mean, good light side GOTB team, good 4 out of 4, gets cam, probably one of the better offensive teams in the game in terms of just like raw power. I would say they're pretty strong. Mm-hmm. And then they're also good in CPIT. Phase 2, you can get 5% with them easily. Yeah. You get enough people in the guild, Shock T clones just handles phase 2. And for like a third, I know he only has 2, but like for a third, I would say like Mm. And see, that's tough because, like, I mean, like, Darth Revan's a good one to have just for territory war.
I mean, it's pretty much insert, meta
Yeah.
team here.
Yeah.
As long as you have like an A grade team or like a top 10 team that's decently well modded and geared. I mean, whether it's CLS, Jedi Revan, Darth Revan, Grievous, Padme, as long as it's, up to snuff of what it should be, then I mean, you're gonna do well
Yeah.
in anything. Jump on to Relius's next question here. Which tunes would you like to see getting Omis, and do you think there's a chance for GLs to get Omis to make them more specialized? I'm going to touch on the GL one first. I don't think we'll ever see GLs with Omis, and I actually hope we don't. The investment for a GL is very large, and if you were to limit it to one mode, I think that really takes away from what it's supposed to be with a Galactic Legend. A Galactic Legend is supposed to be, a tip of the spear, one of the best characters in the game, and I think it defeats the purpose of Omis by giving it to a Galactic Legend.
I agree.
But following that, which tunes would you like to see get in Omi?
Mace Windu. We could only wish. That'd be like, I would love to see Mace get one, or even like, I mean, this one might be kind of not really worth it, but like, I would like to see like Night Sister Spirit get one. Just like, I mean, Night Sister's already pretty overpowered, but like, they're one of those teams where like, as the meta keeps changing, they start getting less and less viable. And so like, it'd be nice to see them kind of return to their once former glory. But it's one of those that I just don't see happening. But like,
you got any of them? Teams that just have no purpose, like Rogue One. Rogue One's a whatever team. I'd like to see like Jin lead, or Jin's unique, like get an Omicron, so that
that'd be cool.
That team can be usable, like similar to how Dash got revitalized with the Scoundrels, like that. Like the prepared team. The prepared team had no purpose whatsoever, besides just you had the prepared team. So I'd like to see like Krennic lead with like, Magma Trooper be viable or something. Or Rogue One, Tuskens, just these teams that don't have a purpose, give them something so that you're not penalized for farming something you want to farm. Is my thing.
So far, for the most part, with the Omnis, it's really like they usually give them to somebody who is needed for like a GL farm, like Rolo or Sidious or what's another one that got Qui-Gon, Zam. All those are kind of, you have to get them for a GL or Executor, and so now they get them an Omni. I mean, there's so many good ones Rose too. I forgot about Rose and Phasma. Those are both, you need them for a GL. And so, I mean, like Mace would be a good one just because you have to farm a GL to get him. I mean, shoot, even like Lando, Wedge, Biggs, those would be good ones. I mean, man, even like, but like, I'm trying to think what else would be in there. Like, I like the Rogue One. That one's really good. But
Rogue One, I'm trying to think of like older teams. I like the idea of Night Sisters, whether it's like giving it to Talzin, or I could even see like giving it to
like Talia,
or even like the no-name Night Sisters, the ones that the generic, like the one in stealth,
Initiate and Acolyte.
Like give it to one of them, like make them be able to do something, whether in TB or TW or GAC or whichever one. I'd be fine with that. I think for me, especially after I'm gonna say spoiler alert, but it was in the trailer, so I mean everyone knows Tuskens are in Book of Boba Fett. Either add a new Tusken character with an Omi that makes them better, or give it to Tusken Raider. Everyone, if you're farming Lord Vader, you have to take Tusken Raider to R5. Give him one.
I would probably mostly agree with that.
Jumping on, I think, Genjo, we will get to your question when we talk about the Omis. Dinkatoid, do you think they will? What do you think they will change in the next Conquest? Do you think they will stick to the 2 GL schedule they did last year, or do we see something different this year? Conquest wise, what you got?
I don't really see them changing anything. I mean, they kind of have it. They kind of have it down to where I think they want it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they'll probably obviously change like the theme, like they always do, like a theme. Like this one was bounty hunters, and there's probably going to be a theme that goes with the character. And I mean, I'm thinking the next character is going to be something to do with Starkiller. It's going to be some kind of Starkiller thing. Cool. Because so far, everyone that's gotten Starkiller is like, I love him. He's really good in GAC. Does like takes out pretty much anything you want besides like JML, JMK, Lord Vader. But he's like people are like, yeah, he's kind of useless in TB. Like the best thing he can take out is like a CLS team. He's kind of can't take out gas or anything like that. And so it'd be nice to see him, because I think his kind of position of need is a light side Jedi that can taunt.
Mm-hmm.
So far, like because like people are using Mace for that lineup, or like Plo Koon.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, and that's who they're using as a tank, and it just doesn't work too well. That or like, I think it's another. They need like a couple more dark side unallowed Force users,
right?
And so, I mean, maybe it's another dark side unallowed Force user. I wouldn't know who it would be. I couldn't speculate that, but that's what I think is probably going to be the next Conquest. And in the 2GL schedule, I think they're going to stick to it. I mean, even though we just got Starkiller and Executor kind of recently, I think they're going to go with it. But I think the next release was supposed to be around February. Is usually when they do
I know
that's when they originally did Rey.
We should be getting the road ahead because Conquest ends in 2 weeks. They're definitely going to have something. I think like mid-January is when we should probably have something. Definitely by the end of Conquest, we should know who the next Conquest character is. And with the next road ahead. I'm also curious. I know the 2GL schedule, I think they are moving away from that. I think they might be doing one at a time. They're not necessarily releasing them in pairs. But I'm not sure what they're going to do next with GLs, because I know that they said they're not in a hurry to add GLs yet. But I'm always here for it. Let's see here. So I guess for me with Conquest, I think that there's a few changes that I think that they could make. I personally have liked Conquest so far. It's a little bit grindy and a little repetitive. I think if they could get away from win X amount with this or do this, make it more time spent instead of accomplishments, I think that would be great. But I think if they could have it to where if you 3-star a node, that it wouldn't cost energy to do it again, I think that would be nice.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Or have it to where I just had this in my head. I think that's a big one. The Conquest Pass, I think that is just what it is. I've bought the $10 ones just because I've maxed Conquest both times, so I've gotten all the rewards from it. $30 is a bit pricey for just the energy refreshing, and it's, I mean, again, it is what it is. Or if they could get rid of over-prepared with speed, I think it's just not needed. Especially when you're running into some of these things, it's really dumb. Having over prepared 4, over prepared 3, it gets kind of stupid. And again, the data cards make it so that you're able to overcome it. But I think, especially when we can't see how fast they are, it's a pain in the ass to do that. But I think for me, if they could have it to where if you 3-star something, it doesn't cost energy to go and refresh it. That's why we can be encouraged to switch data disks more. I'd be down for that, but that's all I would want from switching Conquest.
Yeah. Next one from G-Freeze. Oh wait. Again, I think he was trying to respond to like Relius's question, what's someone's best successful team to help the guild? And then he says, oh crap, I didn't see Relius's post.
Right.
Pretty much Geos. Geos is probably like even at like I'm trying to think. For a long time, I had my Geos at like gear 9 to gear 10 and like 1 gear 11. And in the early phases of TB, you can get 4 out of 4 with them. So like even early phases, you can put in work with Geos. They're good on defense, especially early on. They're good in GAC. I mean, shoot, I don't throw mine on defense anymore, but I keep mine on offense and I get full banners. It's a very easy team to get full banners with if you're fighting the right stuff. So.
Let's see. Tell that to Conja Club. How do you think they'll balance Omis on the new, not major tunes? Like, say, in the next wave of marquee events, will we end up with 2 to 3 Omis on one team? I could see it getting out of control quickly. What steps do you hope to see them take to manage this? What do you got here on this one for, managing the kind of the cadence with them coming out and the balancing of them?
I think there's a hope that not every new tune that comes out will have an Omicron, but it's CG we're talking about, and they're probably going to do that. And the way I would try to balance it is like if, say for example, it's like you're going against or like say they add a new tune that goes, hang on, I'm sorry, like a bounty hunter. They bring in a new bounty hunter, and so now there's an Omni for the bounty hunter team. Well, right now it's for GAC. Just make their Omni TB or Territory War focus. So you have 2 Omnis, but it doesn't both go to the same events.
Yeah.
So it kind of balances.
That.
That would be the way I would do it. That or just say screw it and keep putting Omnis on. Make sure every team, if it's a TB Omni, make it a TB Omni. I mean, yeah, it would get out of hand, but I mean, the overpowered teams get even more overpowered kind of situation.
Right.
And yeah, it's kind of that's his question.
Do you want to jump into the rankings, or do you want to what do you want to do here?
We got a couple more questions. I'll do Morty's real quick. Okay. For Omnis, do you think it's more important enough to go after a character just to add their Omicron for that mode, or alternatively, should you wait for ones that they will add as kind of rewards to enhance the characters you already have? Probably could have gotten that one in our rankings, but I mean, we'll go for now. I would just say like hold for them. Like I'm not really hold for them, but like if you're someone who like farm JMK, then the Qui-Gon one's a no-brainer. Like they basically gave that one to you. If you're someone who farmed Supreme Leader Kylo, the Phasma one's a no-brainer for you. Stuff like that. Like I wouldn't go out my way to gear up Phoenix or Jawas or stuff like that to go put it on. Not really. But I mean, it might be worth it to like always have one ready. So like say for example, like you're like some conspiracy theorist that thinks that, Night Sisters are going to get an Omicron like myself, then I would just save 20 for that day where it comes, but it never really will.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I think my personal feeling with the Omicrons is that they're used to bring up characters or teams that, weren't really doing that well. And so I gave my first one to Rolo. I farmed GML. I have an R3 Rolo that's just sitting there. Why not throw it on her? I'm going to post it later. I went 3 out of 4. I went 4 out of 4 a couple times previous TB. I'm tinkering with lineups, but it's you're getting something out of it. Now I'm holding the rest of mine for Boba Fett, Sign of Django, but I think I'm with you there. I think if you have things that it can be used for, I mean, we're going to talk about in the rankings. None of these Omicrons that have been released are bad. Some of them are better than others, but none of them are bad or worthless to put on. So you're going to get value from it if you put it on. And I don't think there's a sense in holding. Let's just say you have. I'm trying to think. Let's just say you have first order. You farmed Kylo and you have Phasma, but you know what? You really don't feel like Phasma is worth it. I don't think it's worth it to go farm Qui-Gon and Jedi just to put the Omicron on. I think, unless that's what you want to do, then all power to you. Go ahead and do that. But I think that's the best way to do it. But that's my opinion.
All right, you want to get in the rankings, or are we going?
Yeah. Let's jump into the rankings here. So how we're going to do this is we're not going to compare cross-mode Omicrons just because I believe all the modes are equally the same. GAC is where your crystals are, but at the same time, TW and TB, it's important for guild stuff. You get crystals, you get Zetas, you get gear, you get everything from those. So having these teams, what's that?
You get two.
Yeah, you get two. I mean, these things are important, and consistently winning TWs is huge, and especially when your guilds start to get bigger and you're getting the R8, R9 materials. I mean, that's huge. And TB, I mean, the difference between a couple stars is huge. So we're gonna go just rank the ones within the modes, and we'll give kind of our thoughts and opinions on them. So we'll start with GAC. I've got the list pulled up here. Do you want me to read through them here, or do you want to?
Yeah, let's go ahead and let's just read through them, what we think our top is, and then we'll break down after.
Sure. So we personally have for GAC Starkiller. I'm not going to go into all three of his, whether one's better than the other. All three are going to be needed ultimately. He was meant to be a GAC GL, and I would say if you are wanting the best GAC Omicrons, those are going to be his. I know the playbook has put out a lot of cool videos, and I think definitely as more Omicrons get applied and the ideal team kind of comes together, I think there's a slow forming team that's been coming together, but I think when that all comes together, I've seen him beat Rey, Kylo. I think he can probably beat more. Just we've only had him available just for this couple weeks of GAC. So
yeah.
Starkiller's there. I would say Zam, Qui-Gon, and Dash are all in that next tier of what that team is able to accomplish. I think I personally would say for what each team can beat, I would say to me they're probably all the same, but I would say Zam, Qui-Gon, Dash, then Chirpa, Talon, and Rose.
Yeah.
So do we want to jump into the Zam, Qui-Gon, and Dash tier right there?
Yeah, because Starkiller's kind of a no-brainer. I mean, like he's a GL without the GL bloat, even with all the omnis you give him. You just can't get that kind of value out of him. That he just takes a bunch of useless characters and makes them beat GLs. Like that's a no-brainer. Even if you have him or you don't. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer. But like between Dash and Qui-Gon, all of them, I mean, like I probably personally think Qui-Gon and Dash are kind of a little higher over than Zam, just because of like what they're able to beat. Like I've seen Qui-Gon beat a couple GLs. Like I think he can. I think he's beaten SCE before. I think he's beaten a couple Supreme Leader Kylo teams.
Right.
Just that team's just supercharged with damage. Then it's not the best on defense, but I have the Omni, so like I've been placing on defense mostly, and I think every time someone's fought me, they've had to use two teams against it because they just don't have a proper counter yet, or they just don't know how to use it yet. And I mean, it's pretty nice being able to take one hold. They have to waste a team on it, but that's always nice to have. But I mean, Dash also is one of those things. Like if you think about what the team used to beat before, and then what it beats now, Dash and Qui-Gon like are just tiers above everybody else. Like they went from, I mean, especially the prepared scoundrels went from like
being trying to think. Like nobody geared them up. It was like
no, I have them on my like bigger account, and they're all like gear 10, gear 11, gear 12, and I would struggle against like under geared teams. Like I would have to like look for teams to punch down at. Like like it'd be like a low gear Ewok team, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna use my prepared scoundrels because it's fun to use, and I would struggle. Like they were really bad as an offensive team. They were pretty decent on defense, but I mean, pretty much it got beat by almost anything in the game. So that's always a. But now it's pretty solid. I mean, Dash always keeps everybody prepared, so Vandor's able to revive every time someone dies. I mean, it's just such a nice team.
I mean,
I've seen it beat Darth Revan.
Yeah, Darth Revan, Grievous.
Yeah,
that's big. If you can beat that, then I mean that's an A team right there.
Yeah. Now that's a gas you get to save to try to counter Rey. That's Vader you get to save, or another Darth Revan or a GG or something like that you get to save for something else, right. Or to throw it on defense. Stuff like that is always nice.
I know I'm a big fan of Zams. I think for me, like I've seen Zam. Bounty Hunters were like able to beat Gas, but it needed Moff Gideon. But now that you have Zam, I've seen they wreck Gas as long as you run Aura lead and you kind of just do the turn order right, and you're disintegrating Gas after you get contracts, and then it's just taking down the clones from there. Again, it makes the Bounty Hunters, which were already a good offensive team, I would say it makes them a better defensive team, and it really makes what you could beat in the past way more consistent. So if you got Bounty Hunters, you went for Lord Vader, you have Zam, I would have no hesitation putting it on Zam. If you went for JMK and got Qui-Gon, no hesitation whatsoever. I would put it on Qui-Gon. If you have Scoundrels, by all means, get yourself a 3-star Dash and throw that Omi on.
Yeah, I would agree.
Next was Chirpa. You and I both like the Chirpa Omicron.
Yeah, I do. I like it. It's solid. I thought it's exactly what the Ewoks needed.
Yeah. And I mean, I would like to include it in that next tier, but it doesn't really make the Ewoks beat anything more than what they could have beat. I've seen in the past Ewoks, if you get them all geared up and you have them well modded, they could beat some Jedi Knight Revans. They could beat some Shakti clones. Like they could beat these teams, but there was some RNG to it. All this does is it takes the RNG out. And as long as you can get, you've got your team well modded, that turn meter train isn't stopping. But it requires you to gear 13 Ewoks, and I'm not sure how many people are willing to do that. But they're a good team. It's if you have decently geared Ewoks and you have an Omicron to spare, I wouldn't hesitate to do it. You're able to beat a lot of stuff with it.
I would say if they're gear 12 minimum, I would go for it.
Yeah. Jumping into Talon here. These last two were hard, just because on paper, these Omicrons are good upgrades, and I think Talon was the hardest just because there's like no data out there whatsoever.
Oh, there's we were scrounging around, we found 2 videos.
And again, most people don't even have Talon at 7 stars, let alone, relics. So it's hard to really give her a fair shot. I think maybe with more people getting it and seeing what it could do with the Traya team, but I'm going to be honest, I'm going to need to see that Traya team beat Gas, Darth Revan. I'm going to need to see something decent.
It's got to be able to be on par with Dash.
Yeah. Which
I think that's where it goes.
I think it can, but it just I need to see it first. These are things that, like, I need to see. I've seen some clips of, when you get loyal hand pretty high, you can have Talon doing some crazy damage. And one of the other things, she adds a bit of control. The ability blocks is nice. That's a control aspect um, that the Treya team didn't have before. She adds the speed, and Sion was already a pretty fast character. You're able to get Pain out there quick and keeping Treya alive. I think the team is there, but we just haven't seen enough from it yet.
Yeah.
And last but not least, with Rose, I don't think it's bad. From what I've seen from the community, I haven't seen, in my opinion, the right team be run with her. And I think that from the teams that they've played, the wins that have been there, I haven't seen Rose's Omicron do anything yet. I would say if you have, Ray was your first GO you went for, and that's the team that you got. I think, if you could make a separate team out of like Finn, Rose, Poe, and the like Resistance Trooper and Pilot, and you could beat something with that, then I think that's cool. But other than until someone comes forward with something, in my opinion, of the GAC ones, it's definitely at the bottom.
Yeah, like before. I mean, you said that exact team right there. You could have taken that exact team, and there's not a whole lot of stuff you're beating. I mean, you might be able to beat like an Ewok team that's under geared, and you just out relic them, but it's kind of a waste. But I mean, I think so far it's been. I saw a video of it going up again. It was kind of that same lineup you were saying, except they did like Holdo instead of Resistance Pilot, and they were beating like that Phasma lead Omni.
Mm-hmm.
Not the that's territory, but that Phasma lead
Zeta.
With like crew, yeah, with crew.
Okay.
And I mean, it's kind of, but it's that kind of whole idea of, yeah, let's beat trash with trash. I mean, I kind of, I would like to, have my little trash tunes, maybe bump up a little bit and take something out a little bit serious. Like I like to, if they're in like the taking out bounty hunters or crew lead first order or like something else that goes on defense a lot, like shoot, I'm blanking here. Like a Jedi Knight Revan would be kind of cool to see, but at the moment it just doesn't take out, and it's just kind of it's very lackluster. But the team is still better,
right?
I would say. And so far, that's been the thing with all the Omnis is no one's really bad. It doesn't make any team bad. It just some of them just haven't elevated anything above what they needed to be. So
right.
That kind of wraps up the GAC ones, I would say.
Yeah. We're going to jump into TW. Again, at the top of our TW list is Boba Fett, Sign of Jango. All three of his are really good, and we have yet to see anything from Boba Fett, Sign of Jango, but from what it seems like, this is intended to be a GL of Territory Wars, and I think it's a no-brainer. This is the best one. Number 2, we had Phasma. 3, we had Mara Jade. 4, we had Hera. 5, we had Nebbit. And 6, we had Sidious. So let's start with Phasma. So what's your opinion here on the Phasma team, or the Phasma Omi?
I mean, it just took a team that was basically useless, kind of like that Rose Tico team, and it made it to where it can kill GLs. And that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what I want Rose to be. Instead of just taking out trash with trash, you punch up a tier. Like, it's kind of nice seeing a bunch of tunes that have just been sitting on people's bench, and now you're able to kill the GL that you farmed to get it.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen Darth Revan be taken out pretty easily.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that you're having to take CLS against it in some instances. I mean, if you're in TW and you're having to waste a CLS on Phasma, that's big, because CLS is my go-to gas counter, and when you're having to waste it on Phasma, I would say that's worth an Omicron.
I agree. especially if you're one of those people that had the farm Supreme Leader Kylo, which I think currently in game right now, he's probably one of the higher GL counts in terms of like people who have him because he's like really free to play accessible.
Yeah.
If I had to bet, that's what I would place my bet that more people have Supreme Leader Kylo than any other GL in the game. That would be my bet. Him and C, that would be my bet. And the fact that so many people have him means, I mean, this is just a no-brainer Omni. Now, I wouldn't go out of my way to go get this one. It's one of those things where you need some relics, you need some 12s, you need a little bit of investment into the team to make it really work. But I like it. It's solid.
Yeah. Next, Mara Jade. I have not seen relic footage of Mara Jade with the Omi, so like I can't really, from what I've seen it go against Gas, it's been kind of hit or miss, but when you're running a 3-star character in there, there's gonna be some RNG to it. And again, I'd say once everything gets 7 stars, decent mods on it, it looks good. Because I know that Mara Jade was already able to beat Gas before, the Omicron, but to me it makes the Empire team like really scary in TW.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the reason why like a lot of people would probably think that would put Mara Jade's Omni over Phasma is it's just like it really elevates the team to almost like overpowered levels, if that makes sense. Like I hate throwing around the term overpowered in this game because I mean the really overpowered things are JMK, JML, Lord Vader. That's overpowered.
Yeah.
But I mean, even it's to the point where you gotta even on defense. I mean, I've people say on defense because Mara Jade's pretty fast, even at 3-star Gear 11. She's pretty fast. She can go out first, and it's just over. You're wrecked. You got to bring in something kind of serious to take him out.
Yeah. So we.
But I would.
Oh.
I'm sorry. Keep going.
No, you're good. I think I agree. I like Mara Jade. I think the team that it makes is better than the Phasma team, but the Empire team was already pretty dominant on offense. And from what you're doing, there were some people who like didn't even place Phasma beforehand in TW. And the fact that you can make Phasma walls now with this Omi, that's why I would put this above the Mara Jade one, that it's better like that. It's better, I think, for the investment that you made going for Supreme Leader Kylo. But Mara Jade is still really good. If you have Mara Jade, and especially with the more people who get her once she becomes free to play farmable, definitely worth it if you want to get it. Next was Hera. So not a lot of people have Phoenix geared, and I get it because they're usually just kind of the starter team, and they could hold their own on defense because of the health regeneration that they would have, but they were at best a timeout team. They lacked, even with Sabine and Ezra, they just lacked the offense to really do anything substantial. I know at best they were beating Crew, Bosk Bounty Hunters, but again it wasn't the good versions of those teams. It was more of the the lesser versions. With this one, again, footage is pretty small just because not a lot of people have put the Omicron on, and even less people have Gear 13 Phoenix. So I think with more time we'll see more stuff, but I was seeing Jedi Knight Revan being taken out. I mean, if you're taking out Jedi Knight Revan with Phoenix, I would say that's pretty solid.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know. I like it. It's one of those things where I obviously see more videos and statistics and data and stuff, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem as strong as the Phasma Omni.
Yeah, and I would agree.
And that team was trash to begin with. I mean, probably Phoenix was probably better than that team pre-Omni.
I would agree.
And now the Phasma team is just really good. Phoenix team is still, I mean, it's good. I mean, it's gonna beat the same stuff that it used to beat, but it's gonna do it at a more consistent rate.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really gonna punch up anymore. It's just gonna beat the stuff easier.
Right. Next, we had the Nebbit and the Jawa one. I think the same thing here with the Phoenix one. It looks cool. I think it makes the team. It brings the floor up a little bit, but I don't think it raises the ceiling any. I've seen it, and again, we're at the mercy of people who are testing this, the people who have the Gear 13 Jawas, the people who applied the Omicron, and again, it looks good. I think it allows you to counter the Mon Mothmas and the Geos more consistently, but we haven't seen anything as a community more than that. And until we see that, I think the best that I would rank it.
I think we said this last time whenever we were going over Chirpa's Omicron. Like, I would love to see it take out Grievous.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to do that.
Last but not least, I'm sorry to break your heart, Relius. You are a trooper for doing this for us. The Sidious Omi, it looks good on paper. Testing again, it's been hard just because I don't know what team it's supposed to be for, because no one really runs C on defense, so it's not like it's going to be a defensive team. Offensively, I don't know if you're going to run Sidious with C, if that improves anything, because C can, with his current batch of boys that you run him with, he can beat most, if not all, the GLs.
Yeah.
So you don't really need Sidious with him. There's no point in running Sidious with, Darth Revan. There's no point in running him with Palp Lead Empire. So, and even with Traya, I don't even really like, he could be solid with Traya, but I feel like, that's already kind of a team there. I'd like to see Sidious take like Savage and Maul, and, maybe we're missing a Sith here, but it just, he's still just a C character. That's what it is. I think it's fun. It looks good, and I would like to see this work out because it looks like it will, but to me, it's just that.
I kind of agree, but like on the terms of, I guess we've been talking about how like most of the Omnis kind of elevate teams, and so far like none of them are bad. I mean, I think last MDA sent me a video of it's like Maul lead with Sidious, Sith Empire Trooper, Marauder, and Dooku. 4 of those guys are C requirements. One of them is not. And he brought it out and took out like a standard bounty hunter team. And I think it didn't have, let me think, it didn't have Mando or Grief or Finnick. It just basic bounty hunter team. It had Boba, Jango, I think Greedo, and then like Dengar. Like just your standard run-of-the-mill bounty hunter team. And it was kind of cool. It was like, wow, this team used to not be able to beat that, but now it can. So like it's nice to see that it can kind of it's made the team better. It just, I think we just expected a little more out of it.
Right. And especially because we've been wanting a Sidious rework for a while, and we were hoping that this is what would make him at least, decent. Especially since Qui-Gon got the boost that he did, we were hoping that C would do the same, or not C, Sidious would do the same. But as of right now, it hasn't yet.
Mm-mm. Shame.
It is a shame.
Ready for the TB ones. Let's go for the TB Omnis. Yeah.
We have Rolo first, IPD second, and Kyle Katarn third. So jumping in with Rolo, I think this is by far the best TB Omicron, just because you are, as someone who has it, you are able to take Rolo with some garbage rebels and go 3 out of 4, 4 out of 4. I've gotten a couple 3 out of 4s, but I found a couple teams that you can go 4 out of 4 with pretty consistently. I would say very consistently, and to me, that's a win. And again, these are R3 characters. And I mean, if you're running Rolo, Lando, Captain Han, and going 4 out of 4, that's pretty solid. You're taking something that was doing nothing, that was literally just deployment GP, and you're now getting something out of it.
Yeah. The thing I like about it the most is so far you haven't used like 3PO. I think you used like Han Solo one time, which was a nice.
I used
And you
CLS
used CLS
once.
too.
Yeah, I used CLS,
Yeah.
and that team went 4 out of 4. But CLS definitely wasn't needed. I think the one character that I think that Rolo's best with is running Chupio in with her. But I'm hoping this TB that I could find. I just did a run with Biggs, went 3 out of 4. The 4 out of 4 I think was possible, but testing is ongoing. But it's Omicron solid.
But the thing that I like about the Rolo team is even like take it at like face value. Like say you want to make a second team out of this. You're able to take Rolo and a bunch of JML, JMK requirements and get 3 out of 4. That's pretty impressive, especially if you like rush JML and you don't have any other light side teams.
Yeah.
You could then go and throw CLS with Chupio on another side and get 4 out of 4 with that. There's no shame in going 4 out of 4 and 3 out of 4.
No, absolutely.
And light side G. There's no shame in that. But the other thing I do like is so far with you testing with Chupio, it's been 4 out of 4 every time you use Chupio, which is very nice. And even if you take it from the standpoint of, well, you know what, I really want to get the Rolo Omni just so I can use it, and you throw in your 4 requirements from JML JMK, or heck, all of them are requirements for JML JMK.
Yeah, everything that I've tested so far is a JML requirement.
Yeah. And you throw in Chupio, well, now you kind of break up the CLS team, but if anyone knows how rough platoons are now, you can throw your CLS in platoons. You can, I don't think Han and Chewie are used for platoons, but I mean, there's a team of Bam, I think it's Bam, IG-11, Queel, Chewbacca, and Han that gets 4 out of 4 in light side Geo very consistently. Mm-hmm. And so now you can break up your CLS team and you can throw them in other places and have some use for them. I mean, even from 3PO standpoint, like you can throw 3PO with JTR. You can throw 3PO with JMK or Padme.
Yeah.
Or you can go and platoon the guy because he's needed everywhere. You need
I think one of the things that people forget, you only need 2 light side teams.
Yeah.
And
you need 2 regular light side teams.
By the time that you hit where you're consistently you're in light side Geo, you're gonna have a couple, and this is also even with JML requirements, you get Mon Mothma as well. And we're gonna touch on it with Kyle Katarn, but like, Mon Mothma is a solid light side Geo team. So again, I think Rolo's the best TB one. I think the biggest debate we'll touch on here next, it was IPD versus Kyle Katarn, and I think you and I here are in agreement that I think IPD is better than Kyle Katarn.
Yeah.
My viewpoint on this is Dark Side Geo, I would say up until Phase 4 is not that difficult. Phases 1 through 3, as long as you have a Gear 12 with some Relic team, you're able to do consistently well in Phases 1 through 3.
Yep.
Like my Empire team, I had some Gear 11. I even had some Gear 8 characters. But as long as you got a Relic Vader, that's a 4 out of 4 team right there. So IPD is not needed to go 4 out of 4 for the first 3 phases. But Phase 4 is definitely difficult. Phase 4, you need some relics in Phase 4, to really kind of do some damage. So it's going to help in Phase 4, but then also, if you could make a team, let's just say you went for C. If you could make a team out of Krennic lead, throw Krennic with some stuff, give him IPD. If you could go 4 out of 4 with that, that's huge. And again, it's also really cool. You can do the self-destruct multiple times. You're stacking all the offense. I'm I'm a fan of the IPD one. I think it's what it does is more than what the Kyle Katarn one does, and we'll touch on it with Kyle in a second. But what are your thoughts here on the IPD one?
I mean, me and you both run Vader and Darkside Geo, so we both know once you start getting to phase 4, a lot of the dots don't stick. Vader's blade doesn't do as much damage as it used to, and he's almost. I've gotten to the point to where I got to the point to where I was like, man, I'm sick and tired of getting 1 out of 4, 2 out of 4 with a Relic 5 Vader, and shoot, at some point I was like, you know what? Screw this. I'm not worrying about this guy anymore. I almost just went and farmed M Troopers or a GL because I was sick and tired of not doing good with him.
Yeah.
And now you're able to kind of get 4 out of 4 consistently, which beforehand, phase 4 Darkside Geo is you can kind of equivalent it to phase 2 of Lightside Geo. Like it's tough.
Yeah, phase 4 stuff just because also it's mainly just because the tenacity is so high. Yes. It is absurdly high in phase 4.
Even with tenacity down, you can't apply stuff.
Yeah, no, it's insane.
It's ridiculous. And
no, go ahead.
And from like a standpoint of here's this IPD, which I mean, most veteran players have IPD at 7-star, but a lot of us newer guys, by the time your guild starts getting 5 or 6 IPD shards, you guys are already 80 mil. You go to Darkside Geo and you never look back at Hoth again, and that's kind of so a lot of older rosters probably have him, but young rosters probably don't. But he's not too hard to get. You can get 20 shards a month or every other month for him in the Galactic Bounties. And then you can buy him with Get 2, which I probably wouldn't do that. But, I mean, if you're one of those people that are like, yeah, screw it, let's go for it. I mean, what else you guys
I like that we're getting these TB. I know a lot of people don't like TB. TB is my favorite mode in the game.
I agree.
And it's really important. I mean, the crystals that you get for it, the Kairos that you get for it, the Get 2, the Get 1, it's big. It's important. And especially Darkside and Lightside Geo, Cam and Watt are really important. You need those characters, and to be able to do better in phases is huge. So touching on Kyle Katarn last, I like the Kyle Katarn Omicron. So it's not in terms of it's not a bad Omicron. So when reading through it, what it does is it allows you to get Jedi Knight faster. Your force connect or the force influence is unresistible, and the opposing team can't gain turn meter. That's huge. That's a really good upgrade, and it also allows him to synergize with Jedi. But from what I've seen just from initial testing, Mon Mothma with Kyle Katarn, the turn meter gain is insane, and especially the offense that he brings, I don't know if that's needed to go 4 out of 4. I think the team by itself can already go 4 out of 4. And if you need to okay, well, he synergizes with Jedi, the Jedi don't really need that much help. Especially with JMK being added, JML. I mean, JML is pretty much an auto 4 out of 4 in Lightside Geo. And as long as nothing too crazy happens with JKL, that's pretty much a 4 out of 4 as well.
Yeah.
So, again, I would say it's not a bad one. It's definitely, I would say if you were going to compare it to some of the ones in GAC and TW, it's way better than those. But it's if you're applying this, what are you really gaining?
Yeah, MDA and I talked about it a little bit before we got on the pod, and I kind of chopped it up as, yeah, you just went from having a 98% chance of winning to a 99% chance of winning. It doesn't move the needle any, it just makes it more consistent. And it doesn't boost the team even more than what it already has. Even without his Omni, you could go, shoot, I would say there are probably some better ones to go for than his, just because of the fact that even without the Omni, you're still going to be able to perform with Mon Mothma how you want to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those ones where I would just much rather save it for later.
Yeah, it's one that, and again, of all these Omicrons here, if we had, if Omicrons were the way Zetas were right now, I would be a bit more free flowing with like who I gave these things to. It's more that just Omicrons are rare right now, and I think in the next year or two, we're going to come to the point where we're going to have more ways to get them, and it's going to be easier to get them. And then I think there's no problem with giving C, giving Rolo, giving Nebbit, giving a lot of these characters Omicrons. But I would say if you're looking for the best ones, I think this list is in. I wouldn't call ourselves the top minds in Swugga, but I would say that we're both veteran players. I would say I think this is fair with this list here.
And then you want to go ahead. I know we didn't talk about this, but you want to go ahead and make like a top 3 kind of free to play to kind of answer G Freeze's question.
Yeah.
What would you say is top 3 kind of?
I would say Qui-Gon's is just because is Qui-Gon a Squad Arena character?
He is. He's a Cantina store. He's Cantina store.
Okay, so you're getting. Qui-Gon. You have him there. Jedi Knight Anakin is at this point. It's the new starting game character.
Yeah.
That right there. That's the 2 crucial ones there. Whether if you eventually get Cam, you don't even really. You don't even need Cam at this point for it.
Oh. Cam's just a bonus.
I would say the Qui-Gon one. I would say, that's tough. I think whatever GL you go for, definitely put it on. Because at this point, I think when you start the game, you do need to have a GL in mind that you're going for, of what you're eventually farming towards. I would say whatever GL that you go towards, maybe look at the Omicrons for that. So that could be Phasma, that could be
Qui-Gon.
I'm trying to think now at this point. I gotta look back at the list of the
Sidious and Rose. And then
you know what? I actually think once he becomes farmable, I think Qui-Gon, I think Dash, and then I would say Mara Jade. I would say those 3 are, because I know it seems daunting right now that the Starkiller requirements are the big scary whale food, but give it a few weeks and they're going to be free to play farmable. And once they're farmable, if you look at it in a year from now, actually no, a good example, Bad Batch. Bad Batch is about to become later this year. They're going to go on double drops. All of a sudden, they're going to come from a team that was so hard to get. Everyone's going to have them at 7 stars. The Kairos are a bitch and a half, but everything at this point has Kairos. All new characters have Kairos, and that's just how it is. That's going to become a free-to-play team. You get these Starkiller characters. All of a sudden, Kyle Katarn becomes really useful for new players. Mara Jade. Mara Jade, people are already using 3-star Mara Jades. New players getting a 7-star Mara Jade, and you're able to take her in TW and take on gases with with lower relics than you should. I would say those 3. I think Qui-Gon, Dash, and Mara is going to be my 3.
I think my 3, I'll go with Qui-Gon just because, even if you're not farming him for JMK, I've seen, I think one of our guildmates, I think in Age, just took him to Gear 10, threw the Omni on him, and then just threw a bunch of random Galactic Republic Jedi, and said it was pretty good. It said he was taking out decent stuff with it. So, even at Gear 10, he's still giving out good stat bonuses. And Qui-Gon's one of those I think he's one of the original characters that came to the game, and I think he doesn't even require a stun gun if I remember right. I think he's mostly just like Kerbantes and stun cuffs.
Yeah.
Which, with the new gear changes, you probably could take Gear 1 to Gear 12 right now.
Mm-hmm.
if you have a horde. Number 2 for me probably will be Dash, but the Scoundrels aren't the most. I mean, they're kind of free to play, but a lot of them are kind of harder to get. Like young Han's a little harder to get because he's just in the guild store.
Right.
And then the rest of them are kind of like. I mean, Vandor Chewie's not too hard to farm. He's a hard node. L3 is a Cantina farm. What's her name? Kira is a Cantina farm. So, I mean, overall, not too bad. But, I mean, there are going to be a couple of annoying ones to farm there. But I like the Zam one, too. I think Zam's very good free to play because a lot of people early game go for bounty hunters so that way they can get Chewbacca in them. And I put the Omni on her as well. She was my second one, and she's at like gear 8.
Did you?
But I got it.
Did you put it on before after the GAC lock?
I did. So I did like a little brain moment, and I jumped in. I was like, oh, I finally got my rewards for the Galactic Challenges. Now I can throw the Omni on her. But then I like went to work, forgot about it. I came home. I was like, oh, Galactic, GAC's live. I may as well go ahead and join in case I forget before I go to work. Go in, I join, I leave, and whenever I leave, Lorian had just put on that Zeta and the Omni himself, and so I saw him in the guild chat put it on, and I said, oh, I think I forgot to do it. And so I did. I end up forgetting, but I have it on for whenever the next season comes around. I'll give it some testing. I mean, she's just there for the speed boost for me, really. I mean, what is it, like 5% speed she gives, or like 20% speed?
5%, I think, for each, or it's like I think it comes down to like it ends up being 20% speed.
I think. Oh, hang on, wait. I think she gets 5% for each bounty hunter, but then she gives out 20% speed as well. Let me find it because I got the game pulled up on my computer. Let me find it. That'd be Zam shapeshifter. She gains 60% increase. She gains 5% for each other bounty hunter ally, and then all bounty hunter allies gain 20% of Zam's current offense, health, protection, and speed. So she gives out 20% of a lot of stats. And right now, I think I have her at like 220, 230 at gear 8. I mean, shoot, you can. It's a 20% of that on top of the 20% she already gets. I mean, it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Like an extra 40 speed, which like, what other leads in the game are going to give me 40 speed?
Yeah. Like
it's not even a lead; it's a unique.
Yeah, that's unique. So you can throw, and that's on top of like if you ran Django lead, like
that's 30 speed on top of it. I just think it's that's why I like it. It's very free to play. You don't even need like high gear on her. I mean, she's just there to kind of give off a speed boost, kind of like Talon right now. Talon's not really good for anything at the moment. She's just good at giving off that. She just gives off a lot of stats.
Yeah.
So, I don't have anything else to talk about Omnis unless you do.
No, I think we covered it there. I do gotta know though. What are you farming right now?
Oh man, I'm glad you asked. It's been since I got JMK. It's been I've splurged a little bit. I've been hoarding some gear, and so I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and splurge a little bit. And so I finally, Jimmy will finally be happy with me, hopefully one day. And he used to always clown me for having like a gear 8 Malik. Like I once like side farmed like Darth Revan, and then I was like, oh, I got Darth Revan, I've Jedi Revan. I may as well just go for Malik and get it out the way. And so I got him out the way. I brought him the 7-star, and then I was like, you know what? I do not have the gear for you, bud, because after I unlocked Malik, I was like starting the JMK grind, and so I was like, yeah, I really kind of need these Kairos for all these other tunes. So sorry, Malik, your time's gonna have to wait a little bit. And so He's stuck at like gear 8 for a very long time, and I just use him to like throw him in platoons. That's honestly what I used him for. But he's done now. I got him the Relic 5. I got Darth Revan the Relic 3. Bastila Shan Fallens at Relic 2. I'll probably keep HK at gear 12. Working on their mods. I'll bring Set up to like gear 10, something like that. And hopefully it'll be a decent GAC team. And then gave CLS a little bit of love. I'll probably end up giving them I got CLS to gear 12. The rest are like gear 10, gear 11. I'll probably get a couple of them the Relic and then call a day there. But I think my next big project's probably going to end up being, well, hang on. Before I go to that, I'm farming Cat on the side with crystals, and it's a pain. 6 crystals for 5 shards. They're just, that's robbery. That's exactly what that is.
I had to do that a few times for Razor Crest, and that was sad.
It hurts my soul every time I have to. Every time. But I'm like 40 away, so hopefully I can get about 10 to 15 more shards for her in Conquest, and I can just buy the rest. It shouldn't be too bad. But I'm going for Cat, but I think the next big project is going to be Executor and BAM. I've been liking what BAM is doing on like defense as a defensive team in GAC, and even like at low, like the other day I sat there and I felt really betrayed. I was fighting someone in GAC. He did GG lead. It was just a Relic GG with like a gear 8 IG-11, Queel, IG-88, and Droideka. And I was like, yeah, this is definitely a weak team. I'm going to like underdog it. And at gear 8, this IG-88, this IG-11 was just taking every hit. I'm like, this dude, I hit him for like a big hit with like Django, and he like half protection gone. I'm like, dude. And that was the moment I was like, dude, if he's doing this at gear 8, just imagine. Imagine what he's like if you bring him the like Relic 5. Like,
right.
But then the thing is, if you're going for BAM, you may as well just go for Executor while you're at it. So that'll probably be my next big farm. And then after Executor, I don't know what I'll do then. There'll be a new GL or something out by then. And I'll probably go for it. So what have you been up to since
the last powder 2? So I finished. So I'm almost done with Executor requirements. Razor Crest is 95 out of 100. I will get that within the next few days with Conquest. Boba Fett is at R8. My only requirements I have left. TIE Bomber is almost at 6 stars. I won't be able to do the Executor events this month, but I'm hoping next month I'll have everything ready, and I'll have enough crystals to at least get it to like 5 or 6 stars. Hopefully I could get it to 7, because I think it's 25,000 crystals is the kind of the magic number that you need.
I think it's like 24, 25, something like that.
Yeah. So I just actually, right before the pod, I got Piet's to gear 13. I got him at like Relic 1 or 2. TIE Fighter Pilot needs to go to gear 13, and then I just also need to take IG-88 to Relic 5. But it's going to take a little bit of time to get Piet to R8, but I have the arrow magnifiers. I just need to get the impulse detectors and the Zen Biddles and all that, but shouldn't take more than a month. That's my goal. This shouldn't take more than a month. But I'm excited. So Executor, and then I will have Boba Fett sign a Django at the end of this Conquest. I got the 3rd crate right now. We're like a couple days into Conquest. I'm at crate 3, and I'm like midway through crate 3 to 4. So I'm trekking along. So I'm excited. I was already farming BAM and Cad Bane for Executor, but I've got Fennec, IG-11, and Queel in the back burners. Once I'm done farming TIE Bomber, Fennec is next. That team's going to be so much fun. I'm so excited to get that team up and running. The more that I look at the lead and the Omicrons, I have 2 full Omicrons ready, and hopefully I'll
Nice.
have. I think I've got like. I think I might have. I either have 38 or 40 right now. Hopefully I will have the full one by next month. And we'll get Boba Fett running. But after that, I think I'm finally going to finish clones. I've got Shock T at gear 12. Gas is like gear 7. I'm finally going to go. You guys have been. I know our goal this year was to have everyone in the guild have R5 plus shot clones. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to finish off shot clones, and then we'll see where we go. Like you said, a new GL might come out. I might want to go for that. But Executor, Boba Fett, Sign of Django, shot clones. That's what I think I'm going to be doing.
All right. Sounds good.
Yeah, but I think that's a good place to wrap up the stream or wrap up the podcast. Appreciate everyone for stopping by. Hopefully this stuff on the Omicrons helps you guys out or helps you decide which ones you want to put on.
Yeah.